Hello friends and welcome to another session of English literature. So friends, today's topic of discussion is quite important because today's topic of discussion is from Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and we have to deal with it at least once as a student of English literature because it's a quite important novel. So today's topic of discussion is, as you can see in the screen, that consider chance, fate, destiny or coincidence as a major theme in Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. So without making any further delay, let's start the session. So friends, before discussing the main point, we have to at first know about the character list of Far From the Madding Crowd. Friends, it's quite important to know about the summary and character list of any novel, short story or drama that you are dealing with. Because if you know the summary and character list of any topic, then you can make any answers of any questions from that topic. So now let's check out the character list of Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. So at first we have Gabriel Oak. He is the novel's hero and he is a farmer, shepherd and bailiff. He eventually falls in love with Bathsheba Everdeen. So Bathsheba Everdeen is the beautiful young woman at the center of the novel. She must choose among the three different suitors, and they are Gabriel Oak, Troy and Bolwood. Among them, she at last chose Gabriel Oak as her lover. So next we have the character of Sergeant Francis or Frank Troy. So he is the novel's antagonist. So now we have the character of William Bolwood. So Bolwood is Bathsheba's second suitor and the owner of a nearby farm. Bolwood, as his name suggests, is a somewhat wooden and reserved man. But once Bathsheba sends him a valentine, and from that situation or from that point, Bolwood becomes a passionate lover. So now we have the next character of Fanny Robin. So she was the young orphan servant girl at the farm of Bathsheba, and who runs away from the night Gabriel Oak arrives. She actually attempts to marry Sergeant Troy and finally dies at giving birth to his child. His child means Troy's child. So she was supposed to give birth of Troy's child. Now we have the next character of Lydie Smallbury. So she is Bathsheba's maid and a confidant of about the same age as Bathsheba. So now we have the character of John Cogan. So he was the farm laborer and a friend. To Gabriel Oak. Now we have the next character of Joseph Poorgrass. So he is a kind of shy, timid farm laborer who blushes easily. Poorgrass carries Fanny's coffin from Casterbridge back to the farm for burial. So now we have the next character of Kenny Bull. So he is a kind of young boy who works as Gabriel Oak's assistant shepherd on the Everdeen farm. So now we have the next character of Pennywise. So he was the bailiff on Bathsheba's farm who was caught stealing grain and dismissed. So friends, these are the names of the important characters from Far From the Madding Crowd. So let's jump into our main topic, which is consider chance, fate, coincidence or destiny as a major theme in Far From the Madding Crowd. So friends, as you all know that Far From the Madding Crowd is a novel by Thomas Hardy. So Thomas Hardy is considered as one of the greatest novelists in English literature. Actually, friends, Hardy is a fatalist. He believes in the strange working of fate above all mankind. So according to him, destiny is always hostile to mankind. About Hardy, David Cecil remarked that a struggle between man on the one hand and on the other hand an omnipotent and indifferent fate. That is Hardy's interpretation of the human situation. So in the novel Far From the Madding Crowd, fate appears in a great variety of forces: chance and coincidence, nature, time and woman. The blind working of fate makes life a strange orchestra of victim, shriek and pain. In Far From the Madding Crowd, man and woman wander about earth like two halves of a perfect whole, each waiting for the missing counterpart, and this delay brings anxieties, disappointments and shrieks, etc. So in Hardy's vision of life, fate appears in its myriad mood. As David Cecil says that fate in Hardy's novel incarnate themselves into two guises, as chance and as love. So in a nutshell, we can say that fate appears also as chance and as love. So when fate appears as chance into the life of the characters, then it brings misfortunes, and for that the characters suffered a lot. And apart from these, Fate also appears as love in the life of the characters, which is on one hand proved good for some characters, and for some characters it also proved fatal. So Thomas Hardy thinks that the expected things happen rarely, but the unexpected things happen suddenly. The working of fate in the form of chance and coincidence and nature is seen in the case of Gabriel Oak, whose 200 of sheep are killed at one stroke, and it makes his life a tragedy by dashing his hopes of prosperity to the ground. So fate comes in the form of chance and omen in the life of the serious-minded and gloomy Boldwood, who falls in love so wildly and desperately after getting the valentine from Bathsheba. If Bathsheba had not sent it, he would live perhaps a happy and contented life. Even Bathsheba's meeting with Troy is purely a chance event, which leads to tragedy in the life of three of them. And the three characters are Troy, Fanny, Robin, and Boldwood. So chance and coincidence is also seen in Fanny's failure to reach the All Saints Church, where Troy is waited for her to marry her. This coincidental failure of Fanny caused not only her happiness but also her very life, because she dies while giving birth. After all these chance happenings, another chance happening which materially affects the fortunes of the characters in the novel is the delay in bringing the coffin of Fanny to Weatherbury. So thus Troy gets a chance to see the dead body of Fanny for the whole night, and thus the death of Fanny fills in him great remorse that he leaves Weatherbury in repentance. So such fatal incidents make Hardy one of the pessimistic philosophers in literary world. So man is presented as powerless creature caught in the net of a vast scheme, which is called fate, chance, or coincidence, as well as which is called destiny. So even it is pure chance or coincidence which brings Gabriel Oak back to Weatherbury, where his beloved Bathsheba is now the mistress of the farm. So it is again also chance that her wheat ricks catch fire and Oak goes to put it out. And it is also chance that brings him again in contact with the object of his love. So thus Oak's chance meeting with her fills his heart with love for Bathsheba, and this changes his whole life. Thus, in Far From the Madding Crowd, Hardy continuously hints at some external forces at work. These forces, according to him, are blind and express themselves through chance happenings. And these happenings are sometimes tragic and sometimes blissful. So Hardy has used chance and coincidence in the novel to illustrate his theory of immanent will, as Hardy himself says that strange conjectures of circumstances, particularly those of trivial everyday kind, are so frequent in an ordinary life that we grow used to their unaccountableness. Thus, in this way, in Far From the Madding Crowd, the courses of events are soon taken over by the forces of fate, leaving men and women powerless and wretched. So this view constitutes the pessimistic outlook of Hardy. Even Fanny's death and the events immediately following illustrate Hardy's fatalistic vision of mind. One important thing, friends, you can also use this note as an answer for the question that considered Hardy as a pessimistic novelist or as a fatalist. So Thomas Hardy's pessimistic and fatalistic vision of life coloring Far From the Madding Crowd, where fate sometimes take the form of love, especially women. Love for Hardy is a lord of terrible aspect, a blind irresistible power seizing on human beings whether they will or not, and always bringing on them. In Far From the Madding Crowd, women also have a complicated role. So Hardy's philosophy of nature has a new turn where nature behaves like fate, whose moods change and which affect the human actors of the world. The eminent critic Bonamy Dobre writes on Hardy's pessimistic nature as his description is amazing. They are never mere decorations. With Hardy, art labors, suffers and groans. Nature plays its part in Far From the Madding Crowd. Thus, all the characters in the novel are what their destiny or fate makes them, but the predominance of chance doesn't make Far From the Madding Crowd a commonplace melodrama. In Hardy's world, fate is not artifice, it is the indispensable part of his vision of life. In this context, Edwin Muir commented that it is the only device by which he can evoke a sense of the power outside human life which perpetually arranges and disarranges it. That's it. So friends, as I said before, that you can use this note as an answer for two questions. One question is that consider chance, fate and coincidence as the major theme in Far From the Madding Crowd. And the second question is that consider Hardy as a pessimistic novelist or a fatalist. So friends, thank you so very much for watching this video. I hope that this video will help you definitely. And if you find it helpful or useful, then please like this video, share this video and comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So bye bye and see you in the next session very soon.